Interesting facts about famous people.
John Wayne's Leading Ladies 2, 10 more of the best. Following my recent video on John Wayne's Leading Ladies, as mentioned, I have some more for you now. Mostly westerns, with a few not so much. Thanks for your feedback and ideas. If you enjoy this video, take a look at my channel for more. The link's in the description. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Constance Towers, The Horse Soldiers, 1959. The actress only appears once opposite John Wayne in John Ford's Civil War saga, The Horse Soldiers, playing Southern Belle Miss Hannah Hunter of Greenbrier. John Wayne, as Colonel John Marlowe, takes a brigade of Union soldiers deep into Johnny Reb's territory in order to carry out an attack on a town that supplies the Confederate Army at Vicksburg. When Miss Hannah is discovered eavesdropping on Marlowe discussing the plan for his brigade, they are forced to take Miss Hunter along for the ride. She is not that enamoured of Marlowe at first, but of course, eventually falls for John Wayne's rough mix of wit, charm and charisma, even though he's operating in ornery and cantankerous mode for most of the film. Geraldine Page, Hondo, 1953. Apparently Duke wanted a weathered, hardened, almost handsome face to play abandoned settler Angie Lowe, and Miss Page obligingly delivered. Based upon a Louis L'Amour book, this is an unabashed cowboy and Apache film, with Wayne mouthing the good old-fashioned homilies of screenwriter James Edward Grant, who thinks that a woman should be a good cook, and that Angie is a homely woman. A student of the method style of acting, Hondo was only her second film, and her performance won her the first of 3 Academy nominations for Best Supporting Actress. After the success of Hondo, it should have been plain sailing for the actress, but Page was blacklisted by Hollywood for the next 8 years due to having studied under Uta Hagen, another actress also blacklisted for her own association with Soviet sympathizer Paul Robeson. Jean Arthur, A Lady Takes a Chance, 1943. Jean Arthur only played opposite John Wayne once in the romantic comedy A Lady Takes a Chance, also known as The Cowboy and the Lady. Arthur stars as Molly, a gutsy lady who decides to take a bus trip out west to get a flavour of the place, as young women back in the 40s were wont to do. She immediately falls for the first cowboy to be thrown from a horse, and lands in her lap. We can all guess who that cowboy is. Duke's a bit of a ladies' man, and a commitment phobe to boot, whilst Molly is a one-man-at-a-time woman, so they don't exactly hit it off straight away, until she brings Duke some luck at the gambling table. Along the way, the audience is treated to a comedy barroom brawl, and plenty of stock film footage of real rodeo riders in action. Nancy Olson, Big Jim McLean, 1952. After only 3 years in Hollywood, Nancy Olson found herself being romanced by none other than John Wayne himself in Big Jim McLean, released in 1952, as voluptuous widow Nancy Vallon. Her character kind of wanders in and out of the film without really that much to do, but her scenes with Wayne are imbued with an erotic undertone that leaps off the screen whenever the two of them meet, and she looks great in shorts as well. The film itself features Wayne taking a bunch of communists, or to give them their full name, Commie Pinko Subversives, which is quite apt seeing as John Wayne hated communism with a passion that bordered on the obsessive-compulsive. It's therefore not too much of a stretch for him here, playing the title role with gusto and clenched fists, working for the House of Un-American Activities Committee, and carving his way through a phalanx of those rusky SOBs like doo-doo through a goose. Rita Hayworth, Circus World, aka The Magnificent Showman. Rita Hayworth was cast as John Wayne's love interest in the Samuel Bronson circus epic The Magnificent Showman, aka Circus World, in 1964. It was rumoured later on that Hayworth started to show the first signs of Alzheimer's disease during filming, arriving late on the set and forgetting her lines, and annoying Duke in the process. The movie itself performed poorly at the box office, turning out to be one of Hayworth's last major screen roles. Charlotte Holt, El Dorado. Considered to be a virtual remake of Rio Bravo, Robert Mitchum took on the role of a hard drinker from Dean Martin, with James Caan bringing up the rear as Mississippi, in place of Ricky Nelson's gunfighter, Colorado. It has to be said, it's actually more of a companion piece to the earlier film. Lovely as Miss Holt is a saloon owner, Maudie, Wayne's love interest. She doesn't really set the screen alight the way Angie Dickinson did in Rio Bravo. Having said that, she still manages to hold her own amongst the stellar cast, and the film would not be so glamorous to look at without Holt's presence. Lorraine Day Tycoon and The High and the Mighty. In 1947, Lorraine Day appeared with John Wayne in the big-budget romantic drama Tycoon. It was Republic Studios' biggest production to date. Day played the role of Mora, daughter to wealthy builder Frederick Alexander, Sir Cedric Hardwicke, who bankrolls an epic construction job headed up by Wayne and Johnny Munro to build a mountain road in South America. She and John Wayne were reunited in 1954 when both appeared in the aeroplane disaster movie The High and the Mighty. Day as passenger, Lydia Rice, presumably watching in horror whilst Duke, as pilot, Dan Roman, chucks everybody's luggage out of the door in order to keep the ailing aircraft in the air. Ella Raines, tall in the saddle. Ella, referred to on occasion as the girl with a glint in her eye, took on the role of Ali Harold Day opposite John Wayne in Tall in the Saddle, released in 1944. Her character, memorably described in the film as a frontier gal who's meaner than a skillet full of rattlesnakes. For a moment or two, it looks as though John Wayne is immune to her charms, with declarations such as, "No woman is going to get me hog-tied and branded." But of course, they eventually fall heavily for each other. Martha Hyer, The Sons of Katie Elder. Martha Hyer took on the role in 1965 of Mary Gordon, opposite John Wayne in The Sons of Katie Elder, directed by Henry Hathaway. Hyer's role was perfunctory, to say the least, but she got one of the best bits of dialogue on offer, when she berates the four elder brothers, John Wayne, Tom, Dean Martin, Matt, Earl Holliman, and Bud, Michael Anderson, for not being around when their mother needed them. She blamed Texas for taking her sons. Texas is a woman. She used to say, "A big, wild, beautiful woman. You raised a kid to where he's got some size." And here's Texas, whispering in his ear and smiling, saying, "Come and have some fun. It's hard enough to raise children," she'd say, "but when you've got to fight Texas, a mother hasn't got a chance." Welcome to any new viewers on my channel. Thanks for your time today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. Don't forget to hit the notification button to get my new videos. Share with your friends. Drop me your comments. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.